What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loot Bros Podcast. I'm your host, Resident Darrell, and tonight we have, not only do we have a great panel, we have a guest, but we have a special announcement. Okay, so our toast is going to come early tonight. We are going to toast to our Patreon producers. I'm going to give a shout out to the number one Patreon producer, the Starscream himself, MZ Nitro. My name is Mayo.
It's a punishment episode for you every time, isn't it?
I know. It's like I can't get away with it.
That's right. And Sadik, thank you guys so much for all of your support. But we're also going to lump in our fallen brother. We are going to pour one out for JP, for Joe Priestley. He's stepping away from the podcasting game for a little while. Who knows for how long? Maybe he'll get recruited to the Trophy Whores. We don't know. But we want to start things out before we introduce everybody, before we get into the whole nonsense with a toast.
For life.
Oh, I dropped the cap.
So we want to thank Joseph for everything, for his time, his service with Loot Bros, and we wish him the best on his future endeavors.
Sorry about your butt, and thanks for never editing an episode.
Yeah, you totally suck for that one, by the way. All right, guys. So here we go. We're going to start off with our guest. We have Buggy K in the house, aka Bug, from the Hunter Huston ESG podcast. Thank you, Bug, for joining us. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Well, we are super excited. Thomas has been singing your praises for quite some time now. And he said, hey, we got to have Bug on. We got to have Bug on. I'm like, yeah, sure. We'll totally work it out. And we've had a stacked panel for quite a while. We've had a bunch of guests and a lot of crap going on, and good crap, though. And finally, tonight, it worked out. And at last minute, I feel like it was kind of last minute for you. So thank you so much for joining us. And T. Diddy, he's in the house. Thank you so much for making that possible.
Well, I loved being here tonight, and I was glad that she was able to make it tonight. And I also want to give a big shout out to JP, aka a member of the Loot Bros for Life podcast. We love him to death. We wish him well, and we hope he will come back home soon because he always has a home here with us. And want to say big shout out to Whatnot and the residents, Darrell, putting it down, throwing it down, kicking in the damn door, and making an amazing show with not only himself, but all his kids coming through, Pack Attack, Zoe, everybody doing their job, giving some good giveaways. And of course, let's not forget the Resident Darrell YouTube show.
My man, we can promote tonight.
Man, doesn't that show take place in the South?
That's an announcement episode this week there.
Those traders.
He's like, son of a bitch, shite.
Oh my gosh. So listening back to that show, editing it, I had me laughing. It was so funny. But when I was working in my eBay room, I don't get to listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm doing the mortgage stuff because I'm, on the phone, and they don't really like our jokes. They're like, I'm trying to buy a house, man. I don't want to hear about your wiener and fart jokes. So whenever I'm down in the eBay room, I was like, I got to listen back. I got to hear it in its earnest form, and listening to all that stuff, man. Oh my gosh, it was. It's like what a scattershot of just nonsense, but it really did capture the essence of what I wanted. I wanted it in Practical Joker style, just punishment episode of comedy. It was funny. Like, I had a great time. I know you guys had a great time. It was such. That's what we need. We need more of that. So definitely looking forward to more punishment.
Screw you, Europe.
Yeah, that one's for free. We don't even have to be punished for that one.
With your smelly teeth and bad hygiene habits.
Gosh, din your bad dandruff.
Again, the punishment was he just had to admit he lied, and
he never went there. Yeah.
What his deadly actual thoughts are.
just decided to go full swing towards the.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? Not only would I never go there, but here's why. But yeah, that was really good. So, all right, you've heard both of their voices. We have our Loot Bros OGs in the house. We have Matt, the Maticon. How you doing, brother?
Yo.
See,
I like you. I was, yes, and I appreciate that. No, so I had a bunch of stuff to do at work today that didn't require me to like really focus a whole lot. So I just threw on that episode and just breaking into fits of laughter again, hearing everything go down. That show went sideways quick, and I couldn't have been happier with the results.
Yeah. If you guys are listening this week, let's say this is your first time at Loot Bros. Let's say that you had, it's like, I don't know who these guys are. I'm going to jump in. Well, definitely go back and listen to our punishment episode for the previous week, punishment time. It was very fun. Basically, what we're doing from this point on, or this, actually it's been a little while now, we are, anytime there's a game conference, we're going to do this for wrestling pay-per-views, at least the big four, things of that nature. We're going to do a predictions episode, and whoever loses the prediction episode gets a punishment, Impractical Joker style. That's kind of the goal. We never really landed on what we wanted to do for the winners. So I think the winners just get to win and they get to laugh at I guess the winners pick the punishment. So
I'll take my sealed copy of Halo 5 with the steelbook, please.
Oh, too bad that one just sold on Whatnot. Bearded Nerd in the house.
And the people jelly said, the Bearded Nerd. Yeah.
More like the loser of that auction. Yeah.
The broke boy. Yeah.
Yeah. You and your boy right here both. So, yeah. So, again, we've mentioned it. T. Diddy mentioned it. We're talking about it right now. We're fresh off the heels of my first Whatnot auction. Thank you guys for coming in there and being a part of it. If you're listening to the Loot Bros podcast and you came to that Whatnot auction, thank you. If you're like, what is Whatnot? I've never heard of that before. Whatnot is a mixture of Twitch and eBay. It's a live streamed auction.
And Grinder.
Whoa.
Well, not on my channel.
Absolutely.
It's not. Bug's like, what?
I'm just like, I have to Google what Whatnot is. I am so confused right now.
Oh, yeah,
it's like if eBay and Twitch had a baby.
Yeah, so
but now I'm confused with the whole Grinder being thrown in there. I'm like, I thought that was illegal.
Yeah, it was Thomas's wishful thinking.
Yeah. That's what he does in Europe.
That's why he'll never go back.
You guys heard on that punishment episode, he never said the men were bad. He always hated on the women.
Fair enough.
He talks a lot about Europe. I'm just saying, especially those nightclubs. He doesn't say exactly who he left with, but it makes you wonder.
Yeah, no, he's been on episodes admitting that he goes to gay bars because he likes them better. He didn't say why he liked them better.
That's true.
Better music, and you're not bothered.
Sure.
Yes, because you're going to a bar to not get bothered.
Yeah, I know, right?
You're going there to dance.
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to get your little boogie on. Oh, Grinder boy. All right, so check it out. Fresh off the heels of our Whatnot auction, Whatnot is live Twitch streaming. All right, it's like a platform just like that, but you're Twitch streaming the things you're selling. And you can pick to sell things at market value, above, below, whatever. Or you can do like me. I just did $1 starts. We just pick random games. I let my kids pick them out. We did a $1 start, and then everyone in the show can bid on things. And it's very interactive. And that was kind of the hope, was doing this with a community, with the crowd. And it was a lot of fun. And so for the first one, I would call it a great success. Made a little bit of money, sold some stuff. Kids had a blast. I had a blast. We got a lot of positive feedback. We're going to do it again. So definitely each and every week from this point on, if you look in the bio section of every episode, no matter what platform you're looking on, I'll have links to Whatnot. I'll also have my invite link. If you click on my invite link and you sign up for Whatnot, you get $10 to spend with any seller on Whatnot. And I get $10 if you actually buy something. You don't have to buy it from me. You can buy it from someone else, but I still get $10 for inviting you. So it is a very interesting platform. And so far, I really like it. I've been buying on there for a while, but this was my first time selling. So it was a good time. Zach, unfortunately, didn't get his sealed copy of Halo 5 with the steelbook. So, but that was
Zach. You noticed how he gave Kalai a chance to buy the Mario Brothers 3.
You know what's even funnier about that too? He openly said that he would always give a heads up to his homies first.
That's recorded. That's like live on podcast.
So check it out, right?
I have to defend myself.
I honestly didn't think about it. I was looking through. Yeah, you're right,
Wow.
Thomas. I see those messages coming through. I honestly didn't think about it. So I grabbed a couple items that have been stagnant on my eBay store. Halo 5 sealed with the steel.
I'm sorry, don't look at your eBay store.
That is your.
How is that
your
my fault?
We know normally it's called bros before hoes. This is called does before bros, because he needs that dough first.
You know what? Yeah, that is definitely a thing you'll need for sure. But either way, I had it there. Now he is hating a little bit, Matt. I'm gonna have you. So you are very great at being impartial. Okay. Except when it comes to Jimmy Ryan, you're a little unfair, but you know what? You're human. Okay. So check it out. Homie is saying that Kalai got the special privilege, but I just sent him a free PS5 hard drive.
PS4.
That's what I said.
Said PS5. PS5 a little bit more expensive, bud.
PS4 hard drive.
And wait. In all fairness, he doesn't even know if it works because he found it at the bottom of a bin and hasn't tested it. So I could get it and it could be a dud.
Here's the thing. I bought that bin specifically for the hard drive. All the other things.
All right. Okay. All right.
Possible.
Bailiff Maticon has to come in and render a decision. On the one hand, Darrell did say he'd give his homies first crack at some collection items. On the other hand, both y'all keep calling me Starscream.
I actually, in all fairness, I think this is the first time that I've done it, and it was before the show went live.
Oh no!
So,
I remember
the show started.
Starscream horns from like 2 weeks back that both y'all decided to jump in on it.
So the difference between you and I, Zach, is that you insult the man in private when it's for literal disrespect. I do it on the show for a good rib, a little joke.
And T Diddy and T Diddy makes memes out of it and posts it on Facebook.
That's right.
No, so T Diddy gets a pass because he has made awesome art for me. He's made awesome avatars and memes and tributes to the awesomeness of Soundwave, whereas y'all keep bringing in the Starscream. So, just let's put it this way. I'm looking at my computer screen right now, and half of you I like, half of you I don't. You figure out who's on which side.
Sucks to be you, bug. All right, so check it out, right? I gotta be honest. I'm not the hugest Transformers. I'm a fan, but I don't have this wealth of knowledge. Okay. And I honestly forgot the one that you liked, but Starscream I remembered. And I'll be even more honest. I said Starscream by mistake originally because I thought I was saying Soundwave, but I just didn't know. So I said it. Then you reacted, and then I was like, well, now it's embedded in my brain. And so my go-to immediately is Starscream. So I will say this, not doing the blame game, but you basically programmed in my mind which one to remember.
Which is funny because I'm trying to figure out new and creative ways to react every time you bring it up. I just
is the one he's at now. He's just throwing them back.
It's easier for you to say Starscream than it is for me to think of ways to make it funny to react. So,
well, I'm sorry. I'm ruined. But hey, so check it out, guys. This is the Loot Bros Podcast. As you can see, this is where you go for news. This is where you go for very intelligent conversation. No jokes, no BS. All right. We are here to just really, this is like a journalism podcast, essentially. You know what I'm saying? No opinions. All right. No fluff.
We are not Kakatu.
Are you drunk?
Whatever the hell they are.
Kotaku.
Yeah, screw those people.
Oh, yeah. I'm just kidding, guys. This is your general video game and nonsense podcast. We come together each and every week to talk games, crack wise, and have a good time as friends. And I hope that when you come here for the show, that you get just that. So we've already introduced the panel. We've already talked about whatnot, a couple other things in the order of business. We do have a Patreon. If you guys want to get on board with the Patreon, we have extra supplemental content. We have multiple tiers. Each tier gives you different sets of unlocks. T Diddy, you have a question.
Yes, I have a question about the current and the new upcoming Loot Bros t-shirts and the family t-shirts that you're currently working on for the Residence Gerald YouTube show.
It's coming soon. It's coming soon. one step at a time. In other words,
one step at a time.
I see V.
need to
We got a wild
run.
V spotted. If this was a Pokemon, we'd try to catch them all.
I got a question.
What you got?
So I actually looked at your Patreon page. I think when Mr. Thomas told me about it originally, and I saw that there was one option to where they subscribed. You guys would play a game of their choice, and then you guys would talk about it. So what all, like, has anybody paid for that yet? And if so, how have you suffered?
So I actually, for all those that are listening and that are subscribed to our Patreon, or if you're not subscribed to our Patreon, my most recent deep dive just went live. It should have been Wednesday morning, correct?
It goes live in the morning of this recording.
Okay, so it went live on this past Thursday morning. If you're a part of the Patreon,
it'll be live when you listen.
I did a Streets of Rogue deep dive. Redbeard Rick pledged me to play that game. It was rough, to say the least. It was a rough game. I literally got mad at it, and it's the only game that I think I've ever played that made me want to throw my controller or break my Switch in half.
So we've had.
You can pledge for me to play AEW Fight Forever because I'm currently playing that.
So I'm glad you brought that up, Bug. The pledge tier it's a very popular tier. This whole thing was started with the idea that, hey, you, the listener, maybe you have a game that you love and you want your favorite loot bro to play that game. What it turned into, with the great listeners that we have, is a troll tier. Essentially, people will pay $25 at the top tier for all of the perks for the Patreon. So you get the free Super Loot Bros episodes, you get early access to the Driftcast, to all the comic book stuff that I do.
Archive episodes from Ninja Loot.
Absolutely, dude. There's 100-something pieces of content on there or more. So you get early access to supplemental stuff that we do, one-off stuff, monthly stuff, and then you get monthly deep dives. You get the Patreon producer shout out and the toast every week, and then of course the pledge is the Mac Daddy tier, and that is where you force your favorite loot bro to play a game. So we've had pledges for, everybody knows I hate anime. I think anime is for perverts. Okay, so that being said, the first 2 games I was pledged to play were anime booby games,
Senrakagura.
The Senrakagura games. Naturally, they pick your good, wholesome Christian boy Darrell to play some friggin' Senrakagura. So then I got hit with Mafia, which that was a great game, but that was a patron who said, "Hey, I want you to play a real game that I really enjoy." That was awesome. The Master Race at its finest.
So it's not my PC, so I figured it out. So I unplugged my webcam because it kept giving me an error every time I tried logging into Zencastr, saying it was having a hard time. It was something else was using my camera or my mic, and it couldn't retrieve it, so it kept giving me an error code and wouldn't let me in.
Somebody likes to watch you masturbate.
Dude, that's what we thought was.
Please don't over.
Dude, when it flipped over, we were like, bro, what if he was looking at something inappropriate? Like,
no. So I have my capture card plugged in, so it was capturing. The first season of Diablo just launched today.
Yeah, awesome. Not all right. So here we go. We're picking right about where we left off. Zach rudely completely disrupted the whole show, the whole flow. So if the rest of the show sucks from here on out, guys, you can thank Zach. I'm just kidding.
I've never flipped you off in my life, Darrell, but that kind of made me want to.
The night is still young, my friend, especially on your side of the country. All right. So we were talking about pledges because Bug had reached out and she said, "Hey," I reached out. She's right there. She's like, "Hey, do people actually do this?" So yes, people do abuse the pledge tier. We've all been pledged. Even Matt, before he was officially a loot bro. All right, he's an unofficial loot bro because he's too cool for titles.
He's officially on our show.
So people have asked me recently, says Matt official or not? I'm like, he's what is it? Why buy the cow when you can have the milk for free? That's Matt.
I'm licking him to claim him as our own.
Him to claim?
Yep, I'm gonna lick him to claim him as our own.
Listen, my wife does social media for Trophy Whores. I do the Driftcast for you guys. I mean, you can't tie me down.
You can't put baby in a corner.
I can tie you down. You want to bet?
Whoa!
Because I know Tricky ain't paying V that well.
Oh, But I don't think he's paying her at all.
Exactly. $5 a month. We'll bring her over here.
That's big. That's big bucks.
You know,
man.
I'll
Five
pay.
times what she's getting.
I'll pay for her Game Pass subscription every month.
That's
there you
tempting.
go.
That's almost $20, man.
Yeah, that's
No, because I think she only has the one for the PC, so it's only.
Just remember,
$9.99.
guys, they raised the price on Game Pass after they gave you Redfall. So back to anime. So yes,
can we go back to last week, please, where I could just make Darrell
Nope.
fucking promote Game Pass?
Sorry, Game Pass is trash. The real Darrell has shown up. All that bull crap last week. I was under the influence of Impractical Jokers. So yes, people do use the pledge. We've been pledged to play tons of games. Kalai got pledged to play wrestling 2022. Was that what you got pledged to play for? That was amazing.
The good game, not the one before that where it was 2020.
2020 sucked, yeah. She got pledged to play 2022, and it took her a year to beat it because she sucks at games.
It's a privilege to play that game, by the way.
She was so bad at it, and it was so great. I've played I'd say getting close to a dozen pledges now for myself. Knocked out some really good ones, knocked out some real bad ones. Someone pledged me to play Alien Isolation because I'm a survival horror fan, and I hated that game. That game was terrible.
Despised it.
Yep. So yes. So anyone who's listening to Loot Bros podcast, you can go to the Patreon. You can say, hey, you know what? There's this pledge tier. We call it Pledged is Pledged from the book The Witches by Scott Snyder. And basically you can go on there and you can pledge someone to play a game of your choice. What are you going to say, Bug?
Can they pledge any game?
So yes and no. All right.
I have to know the terms and conditions.
So the idea is this, right? So yes, generally speaking, any game. Now we do reserve the right for the host of your choice to say no, because there are some restrictions. Maybe you don't own the console, or we do have some hentai fans in the Loot Bros Facebook group and Discord and stuff. So that's an immediate absolute no. We're not playing the AO games.
Could somebody pledge one of you guys to finish Candy Crush in a year?
Is it finishable?
I don't think so. Is there a max amount of levels or something?
There's like over 1,000.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I would.
Yeah. I gave this idea to your listeners. They all have phones. Pledge Candy Crush. Every single one of them.
That sounds terrible.
That would be great.
Pledge it to D Titty. D Titty wouldn't play it.
Never be played. I don't own a phone.
You're such a liar.
That is such a lie.
He's like, as I voice message Darrell on a regular basis.
By the terms and conditions here, it has to be something that you own. It can't be hentai. It can't be, it has to be something playable. Candy Crush in a year.
Absolutely terrible.
Candy
I love
Crush.
that idea.
There we go.
Yeah. So we had some fun pledges. Now, most games people pledge, we buy. And so the Patreon buys the games. Our Patreon does well enough to support our bad habits when it comes to pledge games and sponsorships. So we've sponsored some friends of ours have comic books like they're independent comic book artists and independent comic book creators.
Someone wants to pledge for me to replay Lollipop Chainsaw? Perfect. I would like to play that again.
So yeah, and every now and again we get a zinger. Someone pledges an actual good game. And those are fun. So, and the idea is we play it, we talk about it, we do special podcasts for it, things of that nature. And so Godfoe Universe, that's right. We have a Loot Bros ad inside that comic book that Zach is holding up. Now, for the audio listeners, I'm just going to have to describe it to you. He's opening the book. It has our faces on it.
Oh, that is so cool.
And there's a tagline that says, what happens when you try for a decade to make it into the music business and fail? You start a video game podcast, because that's what your boy Resin Joe did. Loot Bros Podcast, Loot Bros Comic Cast, available on all major podcast platforms. That is right. That is us. So
that is great.
It's fun. It's good stuff. So we just actually sponsored the summer books for Legacy Comics as well. It was a free digital download for a comic book, and everyone at these different conventions got a copy of it. So we do try to support our friends, with the money that we make here on the Patreon. And then what I do, and I don't know that I have one here with me, but I buy Loot Bros business cards. It has
gave all
that
mine out
logo on the front, and on the back, it has a QR code.
to our
And
link
so
tree.
basically, everything I sell on Whatnot, everything I sell on eBay, and everything even when I'm at the flea market and stuff, I pass them out. But we put those little things in there, and we don't have any more. But I did have a run of stickers made,
Ooh.
and I used to put those in all of the shipments on eBay as well too. So yes, if anybody ever sits back and wonders what does the Patreon actually do, the Patreon does that. So, but yes, that's a long way away from how we started. So guys, thank you so much for all your support. And let's get into what we've been playing, starting with our guest Bug. What have you been playing?
Oh, recently I've been playing Spore on the PC.
Isn't that like a creative game?
Yes.
It's like a terrain building game that came out on the Xbox when it first launched.
No, it was actually originally a PC game back in 2000. I want to say 2006. So the entire concept is practically to play God with evolution. You have to work your way through being an amiibo, to then doing like this tribal area. I mean, eventually you come across like you have to conquer like every stage of the life, and then you get to this huge space area, and then you have to conquer the galaxy, and it takes forever. It's such a great game. I love it.
My kids were all about it. Some YouTubers were revitalizing the fandom on for a while. They're like, "Oh, we need Spore. We need Spore. We need Spore." I literally gave them one of our laptops, downloaded Spore on it. They played it one time.
What? Yep. That is disgraceful. Spore is so amazing. What's
a disgrace is YouTubers and all their games that they play that make my children want to go play them. And then I buy these freaking games, and then these little nerds are like, "Oh, I'm just going to go play Call of Duty."
Well, to be fair, they do apologize with ukulele songs. So
there's also that.
What's amazing was Spore was universally trashed when it first came out, and it seems to have this cult following and a resurgence recently. You're not the first person I've heard playing it again. And
well, you see, I can actually lay a claim of always being a Spore fan. I have behind me the collector's edition on my bookcase back here of when it first originally came out in Best Buy. I begged and pled for my father to buy this for me. Like, it was like $50 back then. I was like, "Please, Dad, let me have it." And I have played it since. It is such an awesome game. I love to especially take over my old planets to see if I can beat my previous game. It's great. I just love the utter conquering of it. It's just amazing.
The otter chaos.
The otter chaos, yeah.
The utter chaos. That's awesome. Anything else, Bug?
Well, I mean, I do play a little bit of Warframe from time to time, but I just kind of don't like the new storyline.
Let's go. The New World?
Yeah, I mean,
Did you guys know that Warframe is a spiritual successor to one of the greatest Xbox 360 and PS3 games ever made, Dark Sector?
Yes, really? Because you've told us like 3 times. Because I told you for like about a month straight that's what I was playing, and then I beat it this year. I beat the original storyline. I haven't beat the New World storyline because they're not done with it yet, and you can't beat that.
Interesting. Awesome. Very nice. All right, Maticon, what are you playing, brother?
So right now, I'm playing some Marvel Snap because everybody is freaking talking about it, and everybody on Channel 3 is completely dedicated to it.
What is Marvel Snap?
Ooh.
I'm sorry?
What is Marvel Snap?
So it's a card game on mobile, and it's a very simple premise where I'm not in the middle of a match because I can't show you, but what happens is it consists of 6 rounds. Games last literally 5 minutes if everybody moves at a brisk pace. You get cards, you play them to locations, and the locations change game to game, and they change the mechanics of what happens. Some locations will give you extra power points if your opponent plays no cards here, or some locations will say you can't play power cards of 1, and it just changes the game. And it's easy enough to get into free. They sell like $10 battle passes for the season that get you cards. It's fairly it's not completely predatory compared to other gacha games out there.
I've never spent a dime, nor has my son, and we've got.
I've literally, I've literally just done it to buy the battle pass when I really like a season or I really like a battle pass because they're worth it. You get all your money back in it.
So the cool thing is the card art. Like that's a big draw to the game, and you upgrade cards, and upgrading cards doesn't necessarily give you better stats, but it changes the art.
Yep.
First, you made it like an uncommon, which gives you a different border. Then you border break, which now gives your art the ability to expand beyond the card borders. Then you make it 3D, which the character pops out from the screen. So if you like art, and especially comic art, it's actually a fairly neat game.
And you can unlock variants with the currency that you unlock in the game.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's very cool. And the different cards, they have different abilities. So you might build a deck, and this whole deck is about power. Put down power cards. And the idea is there's 3 lanes, there's 3 worlds, like Matt said, and it's a numbers game. You want to make sure you have the most points. Matt's showing off
like
some cards.
No, I'm not. I don't have much here.
While you guys were explaining it, I just went ahead and downloaded it
exactly.
to figure out what this is. It kind of reminds me a lot of Vanguard.
So like right here, they've got pixel art variants of these cards and then comic art variants. So you can get different art styles for the cards, and it really is cool.
What level are you at?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. What level are you?
I'm starting fresh again. I've jumped on and off of it so many times. I've been doing a whole lot of Dead Cells on the Steam Deck because I picked it up on the Steam sale, and man, I've gotten further in my first couple runs on this than I ever did on my Switch. I don't know if that's because DLC made things easier compared to when I used to play it, but I've gotten to like the 3rd boss area in my first couple runs. And the new Castlevania, Return to Castlevania DLC on it, chef's kiss. I've also been playing more Inscription. Darrell, I've done a lot more. I haven't gotten to the second area yet. I came within maybe 1 turn of beating the 3rd boss in the first area, and damn, it's like so freaking close. I also have been playing, let me look at my list. Some more Dark Souls 3. I'm kind of stuck on a boss there. And then I also started a new game today called Styx Shards of Darkness. That is a stealth action game with RPG mechanics, meaning that you can upgrade based off of points you get for missions. But most importantly, and this is for those of you who love the co-op missions in Splinter Cell, it is a co-op stealth game. And you play as a goblin. It's kind of like in Fantasyland. You play as a goblin trying to steal, survive, and you get different things. You can craft weapons to get through. And what you do as part of co-op, you actually vomit up a clone. And that's what your partner takes the form of. And from there, what you could do is every time if your partner dies and you respawn, it actually cuts your life in half. So it definitely behooves you not to get caught or killed. But you can upgrade your stealth skills, you can upgrade your detection skills, your combat skills. And I've only played about 2 hours of it, but with a friend, it's actually a lot of fun, and it's scratching that itch that I've been missing ever since Splinter Cell Chaos Theory was the last one I played that had co-op in it.
Nice, dude. Splinter Cell Convictions is so good. That campaign, that story mode was just phenomenal. But B, the multiplayer mode, the Spies versus Mercs and stuff like that, so good.
I remember playing Spies vs. Mercs first when it came out on Pandora Tomorrow, and the sheer thrill of grabbing a merc and just whispering in his ear and then snapping his neck was so much fun.
So it's good stuff. All right, T-Diddy, what have you been playing, brother?
I have been playing AEW Fight Forever. Been doing the daily challenges. Playing Astro's Playground, which I cannot say enough good things about. I really wish the VR game would actually release for the PS5 because that was super awesome and amazing. Also, I've been still playing the wonderful and great Wild Hearts. I just started playing with a group of people. So it's been kind of fun. And then, of course, my regular enemies, which are, was it Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and then Disney Dreamlight, because they just released new stuff and did an update on that. So for those who play Disney Dreamlight, they just did an update this Tuesday on it. Excuse me, Wednesday on it, and added a bunch of new things. Added Wreck-It Ralph and was it Vanellope, and a few other things. A couple of new outfits. So if you play Disney Dreamlight Valley like I do, then you will enjoy that. And of course, was it A Hat in Time, which is kind of satanic. I didn't really notice this. You have to give. No, it is, man. If you haven't played A Hat in Time, it's a really good game. It's basically Mario Odyssey actually ripped that game off because it has some of the same concepts. But there's a part in the game where you have to sell your soul in order to make it past this one part. And I'm like, I feel uncomfortable with this. I have yet to make it past that part.
Interesting.
But otherwise, I am having a great time doing that. And just because she's not with us tonight, shout out to Kalai and her amazing husband. And I hope everything goes well. She's part of the Driftcast.
Yep.
What about you?
All right, Zach.
Well, I have. So we got our game club game. So I think literally the
Final
day
Fantasy
after.
VIII.
It was on sale. Kalai said something about it, and I was making sure I had the right. I had to make sure I had the right one. So I bought Final Fantasy VIII. I've been playing a little bit of it. I play a little bit of Marvel Snap here and there, but lately I've been really grinding Diablo 4. Because new season just started today, and if you found all the altars of Lilith on the map, then they carried over to your seasonal character, which is freaking mint. But
did the newest patch affect you at all?
Kick him out of the stream.
What do you mean?
A lot of people are complaining that the newest patch slowed down a lot of progression.
So the most recent patch, they did nerf a lot of the characters, but that's just because of the new item that they're introducing. It's called they're called caged hearts. They're essentially like gems or skulls, and when you socket them into things, they do absolutely insane stuff. Like absolutely off the wall, like game breaking stuff. So the devs wanted to get ahead of that. They actually talked about that in their season 1 stream about a week and a half or so ago. But I don't know yet because I'm starting a whole new classic character. I'm gonna leave my druid on its eternal realm, and so I just started a necromancer. I'm gonna play that this season, and then played a little bit of Teamfight Tactics, which is like an auto chess game. For those that aren't familiar with an auto chess game, it's made by Riot, the people that make League of Legends, Valorant, all that good jazz. It's a lot of fun. It's free. Download it on your phone. Play it. What else have I been playing? Played some Mario Kart. The new tracks just came out last week. Me and the wife sat down and had a little date night and played the new tracks together and enjoyed that. And I think that's about all I've been playing.
Dope.
Darrell, what did you been playing, sir?
I've been playing a handful of things. I've got a review game currently that I'm under embargo for, so I can't talk about it yet. And the trophies and stuff aren't live or anything. So that one's coming up. I'll be doing that one for provengamer.com. I played a little bit of The Light in the Darkness. Now, this is a World War II, I think, maybe World War I. It's like from what I understand, it's some sort of walking simulator. It's got a very unique art style. And I was told, I was listening to a podcast and they told me, but that it's like a really educational, like cool game. And that basically it takes about an hour and a half to beat. You get a platinum for beating it. You know, all the trophies unlock naturally throughout the story, but it's supposed to be really, really well done. And a lot of people who don't necessarily play video games have been saying that, oh man, this is a very interesting type of game to experience. So I downloaded it. It immediately made my PlayStation 5 overheat and turn off. So I started playing it and then my PlayStation 5 turned off. So I don't know. I have this theory that there are certain games that are not optimized very well for the PS5. and it's turning the fans off. I don't know if you guys remember, but way back when the PlayStation 5 was announced, they said, Mark Cerny said that developers will be able to send out patches that will change the speed of the fans to help cool down your systems and monitor that stuff. And immediately in my head, I was like, that sounds like too many moving parts. Things are going to get broken. Well, you guys know, if you've listened to the Loot Bros podcast for a little while now, my son's PS5 had problems from day one. He has a digital PS5, and the fan continued to turn itself off or wouldn't power on at all to playing your free-to-play games. So like Apex on PS5 overheats the console. Call of Duty on PS5 overheats the console. PS4 versions do not.
Well, that's weird.
I think it's the optimization of the fan speeds, because if you think about, like, with PlayStation 4, from what we understand about the fans is that they just turn on and they just turn off. Whatever. What you got, TD?
Now, is he using optimal graphics, or is he using like performance? Because they give you the options, and then like maybe he's using too high of a grade, so it's automatically turning off because of the grade that he's using.
We've tried everything. We tried this problem has since been rectified, but yeah, we tried performance mode. We tried, saying graphics mode, things of that nature. And here's the thing. So for several months, he used my PS5, the disc PS5, and played his games. And I just played my games on there, and I didn't have any issues. So like your Ghost of Tsushima's, your Spider-Man Miles Morales's, real games, those never had an issue. Now, I have noticed that with my PS5, when I was doing the GTTSC trivia hunt contest, if I put in a PS5 version of one of those pinball games, it would overheat my console. It would continue to warn me that it was getting hot. But the PS4 versions, no issue ever. So I don't know if my fan is going bad, my PS5, or if it's bad optimization, which is my theory. But like this game I hit my mic. As soon as I downloaded it and turned it on, it turned my PlayStation off.
So 2 things there. First off, one thing you can do is remove your side panels. See if it happens when you have complete free airflow. I know it shouldn't affect that much, but you still having completely cool air available to it as opposed to sucking it in through the slats that are available. Number 2, I remember them talking about that, but you may have to break open the entire system and do a good dust out, not necessarily just dusting from the air can, because the fan grates are on the inside, and you might have to actually break those out and dust them off.
Correct.
And number 2, I've never run into an overheat problem on my computer.
Facts. You want to know why?
Because you're just doing taxes.
Oh, no, it's because there's these magical programs that you can download, and you can even set your own fan speeds. It's fantastic, the amount of customization you're allowed to do with the PC.
Look at this thing. Look at this. This monster doesn't have any sort of fan issues or airflow problems.
Yes, for the listeners of the podcast, he just showed us a picture of his coffee table.
Yeah, it was about the size of a nightstand, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, there's no issues with overheating because literally you can crawl inside it and sleep in there.
Hey, I solve problems in a practical way.
There you go. Hey, modern day problems calls for modern day solutions. So here's the thing. I don't know, but my theory is, and you guys know me, I play a lot of weird stuff. I play a lot of indie games. I play a lot of everything. Your AAA stuff, your indie stuff, whatever. And I am starting to see some issues. Now, with my sons, we sent it off. It was under warranty. They fixed it. It was good, But mine is starting to do that weird thing. So who knows? If I have any issues, I'll just call Worldwide Franchise Jimmy Ryan. He'll hook me up. Yeah, he knows. I'm his boy. We got each other's backs. So I've been trying that game. I haven't committed to trying it again because I don't want to make a habit of overheating my console, but I really do want a 1 hour platinum. So AEW Fight Forever, we beat the campaign mode. Really enjoy that game. I can't wait.
Who'd you beat it with?
A Wardlow.
Okay. I'm currently going through with your favorite character, CM Punk.
You suck. I hate CM Punk. So no, Wardlow. In my opinion, Wardlow is the best character, especially if you're looking you're not familiar with the game, that's the go-to like easy character.
I think Lance Archer is the easiest character because he's so big and it's so hard to knock him down. He's such a monster.
I mean, maybe I thought Wardlow has the easiest moveset, lots of suplexes, power bombs, things of that nature, and it's like it's really easy to put people down and keep them down. It's the controls are a little frustrating to me. There's a little bit of like design choice where I'm like, why'd you do that? For the most part, I'm really digging the game, and I'm glad we have it. So, and my kids are into it. That's another thing too. Is like they love wrestling. They love wrestling games. And being that this is not a WWE game, I was worried that it's a little different. I don't know if I like it, but so right now they're into it. What you got to you, Diddy?
Where is Matt Hardy? So today's challenge was to win a match with Matt Hardy, and I haven't beat the campaign yet. So is Matt Hardy unlockable after you beat the campaign?
I didn't unlock him.
Matt Hardy is a DLC only character. Good luck, baby. Buy this.
Are you shitting me? So
Yeah,
he's a
I'm
DLC
serious.
character?
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, does he come with a mini game? And I noticed that they're doing the revival or FTR with like 2 mini games, and you're going to charge me $13 for 2 characters and a couple of mini games? Get bent.
Dude,
I
it's just
think
like Fire Pro Wrestling. They have like these, they're going to have 1 billion DLCs, all these little character drops. Just wait till they go on sale. Get them over $1 a piece.
So I think that it's all one. So just buy the season pass, and it'll probably give you everything.
They don't have a season pass.
They're coming out with a season pass. Is what I'm telling you. So the season pass. So there's the revival pack, and then there's the Limitless Bunny bundle. They're all released and everything. Oh, the AEW Fight Forever Matt Hardy pack. It was a pre-order bonus, but they're making it available later, so you had to pre-order the game.
Gotcha.
Lame.
Whap, whap, whap.
Yeah. So I beat Killzone Liberation, and that is the PSP masterpiece that was ported to the PlayStation Plus Premium. It's a lot of P's.
Did you feel liberated after you beat it?
I feel yes. I'm actually sitting on the platinum though. So my boys and I decided we're gonna bank some platinums for the next GTTSC competition, because the last round dudes were dropping 40 plats a week. So they worked all year long, got all these games to the last 1 or 2 trophies, and then during the competition towards the end, popped these platinums like ridiculous. 145,000 points. We got eliminated with 20,000 points. 145,000 point weeks.
Sounds like they were thinking ahead.
Yeah, I'm like that's 40 chests right there. So
pre-plan.
Yeah, you ain't lying. So I'm also doing the review for a game called Bookwalker. I've mentioned that on here before. That one kind of got put on hiatus while I worked on some of the others, because I got hit with 4 review games all at once. It's so funny. Zach said, I think I want to do reviews. And I'm like, yeah, I occasionally do reviews myself, and they're fun. I like doing that stuff. And then all of a sudden, I got hit with 5, just like boom, 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 boom. And then some under embargo, which I haven't had one under embargo in 4 years. Like, it's crazy. That being said, so I've been chipping away at those. The other one I'm doing a review for is Replicator. This is a Hotline Miami style sci-fi shooter. It's really good. It's really good. It's not as tough as Hotline Miami. It's still a little more difficult than you would expect from a Ratalaika game. But yes, definitely a good one. I'm really enjoying it. And then Marvel Snap, guys. We've just been playing the freak out of Marvel Snap. Like, me and my kids, we've been playing against each other. My daughter's playing. My 2 boys are playing. And so we'll take turns battling against each other. I'm almost to level 400 right now. I think Noah broke 1,000. He's like 1,000, 1,100 right now. So I think Kalai says she's like a level 4K.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm only at like 1.8K, and she's like, oh yeah, 4K. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, I don't play that often. I played a lot this week. I went from like 220 something to almost 400. So I played a lot this week, but that's because we've been doing a lot of transit. We've been going places. Had a lot of doctor's appointments for Noah's leg. Just a bunch of stuff like that. So we've just been, I've been getting judged too, because like I'll be in the middle of like a real gruesome match and mega points. And then like these nurses are looking at me like, really, dude, you're playing your freaking game in here? I'm like, yeah.
It's what he'd want.
That's pretty good.
And I'm not backing out of it either. I'm like, right, you just gonna have to wait. So I'm about to snap. So if you play the game, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, and then again, a lot of my time has been spent in this one review game that I can't wait to record and talk about. So that is what we've been playing. I'm going to do the leaderboards and posts so we can jump straight into what we've our topic of discussion for this week. So T Diddy pitched a topic this earlier today that I've been kind of sitting on for a little while. I feel like we might have talked about this several years ago, but it was probably in context with something that happened at the time. Tonight, I want to talk about regrets, if you will. Video games that we have bought and sold and regret for various reasons. Now, we have 2 former GameStop employees, if I'm not mistaken, and then 1 current old school gamer employee. So you guys are in the business of receiving, or at least you were receiving the soon to be regretted trade-ins. And I am a part-time reseller. So that's what I flip games all week long, every week. So I'm constantly buying, constantly selling. And then some days I'm like, man, why did I do that? Why did I let go of a sealed copy of Halo 5 Guardians with the Steelbook today?
You feel that, Zach? You feel that knife just twisting a little bit?
Yep, I'm just.
So what I want to do when we start this week's official topic, Zach, that's your cue.
Twat. I didn't want to, do something. With all due respect, there's a female on the show. I didn't know how to make her feel. That's why I didn't say it the first time.
Freaking pervert, you and your anime, I swear.
Oh my god!
We got the show got shut down. See, you mentioned the dreaded perverted anime, and then all of a sudden your computer just sucked you out of the.
I didn't mention it. You did,
dude. T Diddy is like doing this weird stop motion stuff. Like it's like 1 minute he's facing you, the next minute he's turned like it's like there's something weird going on with. It's like he's possessed or something. Before you know, he's gonna be upside down, hanging from the roof. But no, so you mentioned anime earlier, and then of course the show shut down, rightfully so. But yes, Matt, I am still currently going through Attack on Titan. I'm going to have some deep dive stuff. I was trying to give Zach the floor for his deep dive for his game this month. So I'm going to piggyback off of it, and I'm going to continue. I've watched a few more episodes of Attack on Titan, and I'm going to be talking about it very soon on Patreon.
All right. Just hear me out a little bit. Are you at least like enjoying the story for the most part right now? Past the art style and everything else, are you following along with the story and enjoying it?
No. So here's the thing. Everyone screams the whole time they talk, right? And it's like...
You scream too if there were freaking...
Oh my gosh!
Couple 100-foot tall titans.
So here's the problem, Zach.
This random guy. I'm a coward. The reason why your mom's dead is because I'm a dang coward.
Everything he's talking about is the first episode.
So if your town's randomly attacked, you'd be like... So we're gonna die.
Oh, that stinks.
We're gonna die. Oh, this.
Yeah,
this
it's the first
terrible.
3 episodes is basically it's like the events of the first one, and then it's like a ripple effect for 2 more episodes.
So the problem is
1 episode right now.
The problem is I only pledged you the first 37 episodes, 2 seasons. The problem is it gets phenomenally better in seasons 3 and 4, but I didn't want to overcommit you.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping that something grabs you by the end. I feel like my hopes are going to be dashed against the rocks.
It's going to be a rope is what's going to grab you by the end. And then you're going to find me hanging from my ceiling fan.
How do we pledge him for animes? Because I have
the pledge tier. We pledged him with the pledge tier.
It was a one-time exception to the pledge tier for a friend. I respectfully decline all anime from this point forward, even if I fall in love with the show.
Then you had a wasted opportunity. You could have made him watch all 13 episodes of Ouran Host Club.
So I was debating on Konosuba because it would have reinforced the anime is for pervs thing, but at least you might have gotten a couple laughs.
Have him watch High School DxD.
DxD. Yes.
That sounds.
Watch the first 37
High
episodes
school-
of that.
High School of the Dead would have been a short run for him, and he would have liked the zombie theme, but I never would have heard the end of it.
Oh no, we would not have.
So,
it's so
here,
bad.
let me. Bug hasn't heard this story. I don't know if TDD has either, but we've been doing Loot Bros podcast since like 2015, 2016, something like that, and we did take some time off for a little while there, but. There was a point in time where my old co-hosts were trying to sell me on anime. And so one of them came over to the house. He used to travel with me in my band. And he said, all right, we're going to experience anime. I'm going to give you good anime. I was like, okay, let's do this. We sit down and he turns on Ikki Towson. And they punch each other and then slow motion boobies pop out. I'm like, this reinforces my point. Like this, they just literally he punched this chick in the face and her shirt exploded. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. He's like, okay, whoa. This was a bad choice. Let's turn on this other one. And it was called like Ren or something. It was a vampire chick, right? And she had like this glove, and her glove was like a shotgun, essentially. Maybe it wasn't Ren. Maybe it was blood something. Either way, doesn't matter. So we're like, oh, that's really cool. And then it's like, oh, all right, now we've killed all these vampires. I'm gonna go finger bang this chick over here. I'm like, what is this? This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is disgusting. Why are we? I was like, you know what? You keep your freaking perverted anime. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I was debating on Tokyo Ghoul as an alternative because that one isn't all boobies and panties, and it would have been a fun story.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is a really good one. I mean, I can honestly say there's not any perverted stuff in that, like, at all. It's good. It's good.
Darrell's definition. The problem is you got lust, and
who doesn't love a really good episode about a little girl really loving her dog to death? I mean, it's just
That would destroy him inside. That still destroys him.
As I'm thinking about it, we're actually going to dial it back a little farther, because before Tanner thought he was going to come to anime's rescue, Frosty, former co-host of the show, he said, Ghost in the Shell. He's like, gotta watch Ghost in the Shell. Gotta watch Ghost in the Shell. I'm like, do they wear clothes in this show? Because it seems like everyone's always naked. I was like, you know what? I think I'll pass.
They're basically mannequins.
Naked mannequins. That's like saying playing with Barbies is like, they're all naked Barbies.
And you're saying you never play.
Technically, all Barbies aren't naked. All Barbies actually have like that little underwear when you take all their clothes off.
Not all of them.
So, as somebody who actually played with Barbies growing up, some do, and some are just like fully naked with like a little butt crack in the back.
Mm-hmm. Some kind of type shit.
You never had your G.I. Joe's rescue Barbie from Ken?
All the time. Actually, I used the foot long tall like X-Men figures. So like I had Cyclops, I had Wolverine, I had Sabretooth, all of them. And so Wolverine was always saving Barbies.
So what you're saying is Cyclops was a foot tall, Wolverine was about 7 inches.
Actually, they were neck and neck. Actually, I think Wolverine might have been a little taller because of those points. But
inaccurate,
100%. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about games that we have sold that we regret. So what I would like to do is I would like to start with our guest. You can have the floor on, your background when it comes to gaming, how you got into the gaming industry as far as like, working as an associate for these different platforms. And then maybe you can tell us games that you have sold that you personally regret, or maybe you can tell us about the regret you see in people's faces as they trade things into you.
Okay. How I got into the gaming industry is not exactly all that exciting. I was a stay-at-home mom for about 4.5 years until eventually I took a really good, hard look at myself, and I'm like, I need a life. When you are a parent and you're a stay-at-home parent for a long time, and your day is constantly cleaning, taking care of the kid, go to sleep, cleaning, taking care of the kid, go to sleep, and repeat for 4.5 years, you end up losing a piece of yourself. It's not the kid's fault. It's just a thing that happens. And I feel like a lot of parents go through this. So I just kind of looked at my husband and I was like, I need to get back out there. I want to do something that I like. because I actually went to college for about roughly 5-ish years to go into pharmaceuticals, and I didn't end up going because I just didn't have the heart to tell older women that they couldn't get their heart medication. And so I was just like, I want to do something that's me, and I'm a big nerd. And so I was like, if I'm going to do something, I want to go into like GameStop. Like I've always had this dream of working in GameStop because at the time I was naive and I thought it was going to be a fun place to work at. It was not. I have to say the manager at the time who did hire me, I really did appreciate her understanding my lack of work history for 4.5 years. She was really great at the time. Later, not so much. But I would have to say my biggest regret when I went into the gaming industry and I was trying to get just parents to understand the rating system for the various games and how packaging can be very deceiving. But for an example, there was an older woman who one time came in to GameStop and she wanted to get something for her 10-year-old little girl. And she wanted to get a game that looked really nice and really pretty on the shelf, and it was called Doki Doki Literature Club. Because it had a really nice pink cover, and my coworker at the time, who had no idea what this game was about, tried to sell this older woman this game for her 10-year-old, and I had to stop in the middle of it and be like, this is not a game for 10-year-olds. This is, you do, no, absolutely not. We will try to get you like a Switch game or something. Like this is not appropriate. And then I had to painfully tell her why. Another big regret that I had while selling games at the time, there was a game that came out called It Takes Two.
Mm-hmm.
That game was terrible for the simple fact that you need 2 people to play it, and it's not very advertised on the packaging that you need 2 people and 2 devices to play it. So there was a lot of people who tried to come in and try to purchase the game to try to play it solely on their Switch, and their family only had one Switch, and then they would get upset when they would come in and be like, you didn't tell me I needed another Switch. Well, the game just sucks that way. Like, I really wish the game had an option where you could play the main story by yourself and did not need a second person. I just feel like that game is just absolutely terrible. It is not a game you can play by yourself. You have to have somebody.
I don't know. And you don't have to have 2 devices. My wife and I played it split screen on the Xbox.
Well, I'm talking about like with the Switch. Yeah, with the Switch, you have to have 2 separate devices. You have to have one Switch over here, one Switch over there, whether it's local play, wireless, but you need 2 separate Switches to play it. And that was always a nightmare when people would come back to return their downloadable only $30 game. And I would have to tell them, hey, this is downloadable only. We can't do returns on downloadable only games. You have to take that up with Nintendo.
Yeah.
We can't help you.
I played that game on PS4 for a little bit. It was really good. But again, that's one of those games where you have to have a partner. Same thing with The Way Out. You have to have a partner, whether it's couch co-op or online. You can't progress without it. And I think it's cool that exists, but also that kind of stinks. I can see the issue, especially when grandma's coming in to buy little Jimmy a game.
Yeah. See, I would mainly have couples who would come in and be like, oh, this is such a cute game. We'll just, and I tell them, hey, you need another device to do it. And they're like, oh, well, I heard that the Switch allows you to play up to, like 4 people. Okay, but this game does not. You need another Switch for this one. They wouldn't listen to me. They come back a week later, upset. Hey, I bought this $35 game and it's not letting me play. Tried to warn you. I tried to tell you, you needed another Switch. But, nobody ever really listens to sales associates. Like, what do we know? We just work there.
That's pretty awesome. I'm sure you see and deal with all kinds of stuff that you can't stand or that's super frustrating. But what are some games that maybe you've sold, like out of your own personal collection, or the games that you got rid of that maybe you regret?
I would have to say that was probably, and I know this one might be kind of weird, but it's for mainly nostalgia reasons. I really regret selling my Nintendo Dogs games, even though they're like really super cheap to get a hold of. Just for the nostalgia of it. That was a bit of my childhood. I kind of regret selling those games.
I feel that. I feel that. My daughter played the fool out of Nintendogs and all that stuff.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I used to have a Chihuahua that could do everything. And when I did finally sell it, because it was like, oh, I haven't played this in years. And then it was like when I sold it, and then GameStop gave me the stupid price for it. I was like, okay. But to be fair, it did go towards a better cause. It went towards the Pikmin 4 game. But regret. You live, you learn.
Yep. Maticon, what's some regret that you're living with?
For the most part, it's going to be all the Pokemon games I traded in. I have a feeling Zach might agree with me there.
Yep, that was definitely on me too. Yeah.
The first off, there's a financial component to it because the games have skyrocketed in value, and not that would make me sell it now, but just having something like that is kind of it's appealing from a collector position. From a nostalgia position, kind of going back to what Bug said, those teams that you beat the Elite Four with, that was something special at our time of life. And I kind of wish I still had access to some of those teams just to have brought them forward as far as I could. Because, after a while, I think some of the chains broke. You could no longer get like Gen 4 into the current roster. I forget what it is, but those games, even though I know Gen 1 had battery issues and you'd have to replace it at some point and figure out a way of somehow saving your team, I really regret trading those in. And that's something I carried with me now because I collect all the Zelda games. So that way I said, never am I going to trade any Zelda game in ever. And the Pokemon are the games that I kind of really regret.
Heck yeah.
See, and that's what I think what was really dirty, honestly. Like, so cool and innovative GameStop trade-in policy was, or EB Games, or Rhino Games, or whatever you want to call them, before they all became one big thing. They were innovative for that reason, but it really preyed on us as youth who were into these, and our parents didn't know any better. Most of our parents didn't know any better because they had no idea what it was. So we go in there, little Timmy wants to buy a new video game. So here I am trading in freaking Pokemon Emerald for $10 and trading in like a bunch of games that meant something to me for chump change to buy this one brand new game that I end up beating and selling anyways.
Yep.
Like I said, they really took advantage of us. They were businessmen. That's all it is.
So before we go to the next host, I do want to throw something out there that, being that I sell, trade, buy so much stuff, I do understand more now the ridiculously low trade-in margin because of all the things that go into housing, selling, and being liable for all that merchandise, all the games and stuff, because it used to frustrate me to no ends that GameStop's trade-in policy, and we use them as the easy target, the low-hanging fruit, although they're not the only ones out there that have really bad trade-in policies. But that value was so low. It was like, oh man, I got this game and I paid $60 for it. I beat it. I got all the achievements, all the trophies, whatever. And then I traded in and they give me $2. And it's like, or even if it's still within the first few weeks and it's only $30, it's only half of that. But now, being that I've spent the past year buying, trading, selling, and doing all that stuff, and having to be the one that foots the bill and holds on all that stuff, like, you got to get it at as low a margin as possible to maximize the amount of profit that you can, because there's so many costs and so many things that come up. I'll give you an example. I'm not excusing GameStop or any of these guys for that, but like just the other day, I sold a Wii bundle on eBay, and I sold it for like $105 plus shipping to Alaska. And I knew when I saw it was Alaska, I was like, this one's probably going to be, there's going to be a complaint. I just can feel it. I've been doing eBay long enough now I'm getting complaints even when I know for a fact things shouldn't be complained about. Now, I threw a bunch of games in there, a couple of the Wii wheels, some nunchucks, things like that. I tested everything before I shipped it. And it worked. Now, I did say in the description, hey, some of these games have some scratches. Mario Kart was one of them. And that's on a fault on my end. I haven't invested in a good resurfacer yet. So I'm really am playing with fire whenever I sell something that has any kind of scratches at all, because I can have 3 of the same console lined up and not every single console will read every single game. So I've got certain games that they'll work on one and not another. So I've experienced that myself. That being said, when I saw it pop up for Alaska, I was like, mother, I sent it all out. As soon as they got it, hey, Mario Kart doesn't work. It worked for me. And so I'm, as the store owner, you know what I'm saying, as the seller, I'm left with a decision to make. Now, this person was super cordial, super nice. They say, hey, I'm still going to leave you a good review. They didn't threaten me with the bad review, you know what I'm saying? Which we live and die on these reviews for eBay, by the way. Like, that will kill my entire week's sales if someone gives me a bad review. But sure enough, I'm like, all right, well, here, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Let me give you a refund. So I give him a partial refund. But I'm like, that game worked for me. I played it. You know what I'm saying? My kids played it. So it's kind of like I just gave away money. And so now and me as the little guy doing small transactions here and there, like I sold Blinks 1 and 2. Not only did I sell Blinks 1 and 2 to a guy, I tested the games on my Xbox. They worked. Okay. I sold them both for the cost of one on price charting. Okay. I put it out there as a combo, the two together. The cases were kind of janky, so I didn't try to sell, sell for full market value. I put them both out there, and I used a repurposed case. All right. This repurposed case for Blinks 2 had the 2-disc spot in there. So you like for the Xbox combo packs, whatever, when they had like the arcade disc in there, and the arcade disc was in pristine condition. So I not only sold them 2 games for the price of one, but then I threw in the arcade, whatever, it was only $5, whatever, the arcade disc for free. And I told them that. So, hey, here you go. 3 games for the price of one. Ship it out. As soon as they get it, they're like, yeah, one of these games doesn't work. And they ask for a refund. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's always when it's across the country and it's more expensive to ship it back than it is to just say, okay, you know what? I can't afford the bad feedback because now I'll go a week without selling anything because of the algorithm. So I say all that to say, I have a little bit of perspective, and I can only imagine that on a grand scale when you have the overhead that they do, the amount of stores they have, the amount of inventory they have to carry, the amount of, employees they have. And then you can imagine the amount of broken and just bad crap that they get in and what it really takes to test that stuff out. T. Diddy gave me some really awesome feedback on YouTube when I just did this video that I just released where I tested 7 consoles. Okay. All 7 consoles I bought at the flea market for $10 each. I couldn't believe they all worked. I went back. One of the 7 I decided I was going to keep for myself. Went back, put a different game in there, and it didn't want to work. And what's happening is the laser, as it travels up and down, is wanting to get stuck somewhere. Now, T. Diddy, gave me some pointers on how to fix that. But I'm like, what I'm saying? Like, I tested it with games. I did it live on camera too. And a lot of these, and I was telling you guys earlier, I leave my consoles on just to make sure that they don't overheat because, that's the thing. And even then it's like, now granted, I don't have much invested in it, but I can imagine, all the things that come with it. So I know there's a bean counter out there saying in order for us to stay afloat and to be profitable, we got to really nickel and dime the little guys. But as the little guys, which is the perspective we're covering here on the show tonight, that sucks. You're wrong for that, Mr. Gaines.
As a place that works on that larger scale, like that is absolutely correct. I know one of my main jobs is to test and clean the various equipment and games that come in. And, sometimes we have an entire bin of Atari games that come in. And we have to check those. We have to test those. We have to brasso those, clean those. And sometimes it is just it's such a delicate process. And, it might work with our in-store Atari. We'll be like, yay, this Miss Pac-Man works great. And then we go to sell it to somebody. And the next week they'll come in and be like, it's flickering so bad on my TV. I can't get her to move. And we'll plug it right into our Atari system. We're like, it works fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't really see the issue here. Maybe it's your Atari. It's not my Atari. It's been in my family for 40 plus years. Well, I mean, that could be the issue. Are you properly taking care of it? You know, I mean, we see that all the time, especially where I work, because we deal with just so much equipment, so many different games, so many different genres. Like, we have to tell people cleaning your games and your equipment properly is the biggest key to getting a lot of this stuff working, especially if it's about 25 years and older. Like, you have to just clean and clean and clean with the right products too. That is my biggest pet peeve. Clean with the right products. It will save your game. It will save your system. Don't be putting Windex in your machine.
Facts.
I mean, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like you have to take care of the stuff that you have. Those older games are, but like they're tough, but they can also be incredibly fragile when they want to be. It's just it's horrible sometimes.
Yep. T Diddy, you're up, brother. Let's talk about some regrets.
All right. I have many regrets now. But outside of my regrets in life and going bald, my other regrets, yes, are different games. But I want to just kind of move a little bit differently from when I was at a pawn shop and I was a manager at a pawn shop. Okay, this is a good story. You're gonna love the story. This will be the highlight story.
Is there anything that you didn't do in your lifetime? I swear to the Lord above, you're like you've been an FBI informant or something like that. You've been a freaking like you've been an undercover like sex agent before. Like what else?
I think
what
T
else?
Diddy and we could do a whole show where we go back and forth on things we've done in life. Really, we could have a real creative.
I have just been a journeyman. Everything that I wanted to do that's reasonable, I have done. Everything that basically that seems like that you could probably do with having little to minimum education, I can do. And the story is, there's a guy who comes in. Okay, he's in a brand new not brand new BMW, but it's a pretty nice BMW. This used to be the pawn shop over off of Broad River Road in front of Lowe's. It was a Wybie Broke Golden Pawn Shop. Okay, it's no longer there. It was torn down. I used to manage that. It was right across from not EB Games, but GameStop. That was right there. Like going toward like you're going toward West Columbia, and there was a GameStop, and then a Chinese restaurant right there in the corner. So I worked there part time. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so guy comes in. He has a couple of games with him. Okay, he has a couple of games and he has a watch, and he says, "Hey, I need $200." And the games were garbage. They're sports games, okay? And the watch was pretty nice. And I was like, man, I could probably give you 80. And he said, hey man, are you looking at the cameras outside and the cameras all around? I'm like, yeah, look at the outside camera. So I look at the outside camera, which is right there in front of me, and there's a girl sitting in the car. I could see the girl sitting in the car. And it's like, you see the girl in the car? It's like, yeah. Like, dude, I need at least $200 to buy an 8-ball so this hooker will be able to get off. And I'm like,
of course, it's always something to do with sex with you.
And I'm thinking to myself, so I basically turned beet red and I said, sir, I could have possibly given you 80 because you told me what you plan to do. I can't give you any money now. So I actually sent him to another pawn shop. And I said, please don't tell them what you told me. And it's like, dude, can you at least do like 150 and I'll come back and I'll let you keep the games. I'll just come back for the watch. My wife doesn't need to find out. I said, sir, once you told me what you plan to do with the money we were going to give you, that's like saying that if I let you buy a gun and you told me you're going to kill somebody with it, that makes me an accessory. Yep. And so I told him, you can go somewhere else. Please don't tell them what you told me. I appreciate your honesty and that what you were planning to do. But my regret is I didn't take that. For the fact is, I would love to have come back and see what the story was and see like if he had any success or he did not have success. So I regret that. Now, my personal regret in my life is I had a modded PlayStation 2 that I modded, and I had all these Japanese games. I had like everything under the sun, and I mean every damn thing on this. And I had 100 Bullets, which was like the first real. This was before Max Payne did the slow motion real time and all this other stuff. It was an amazing game. If you look it up for PS2, Japanese, and then like 4 other Japanese games, the original Bujingai Japanese game, and I sold it to a guy who is basically a pothead and is kind of a loser. And I regret that I sold it to him because I gave him like over like 300 games for like $100. And it's just because I was just tired of what you said about housing systems and housing stuff in your house. My wife basically told me, you have too much stuff. Something has to go. I wasn't ready to get rid of my GameCubes at the time, but I was eventually able to pawn those off on you, so thank you.
Thank you.
It was a win-win situation there.
Yeah.
It was one of those things I really regret because I loved that PlayStation 2 because it also had my 3 different versions of Ronin Kenshin. It had Full Metal Alchemist for the PlayStation 2, which wasn't released here in America. So I was actually playing the Japanese original version, not Brotherhood, the original version of Full Metal Alchemist from the anime. And then I actually had the Full Metal Alchemist fighting game for it, which was pretty cool for a Full Metal Alchemist fighting game. And so I had all these really cool games, and I basically gave it away to like not even a cool pothead, like a loser pothead. and it makes me upset. And I'm sorry, people who listen to this show that might be potheads. There's some cool potheads out there, man. There's nothing wrong if you want to, do whatever you want to do in your free time for recreational. But the fact was that I gave away something for basically pissant money. And now I live with this regret, like, and I know I still see this person from time to time, and they're like, "Hey, man, I just want to say thanks, man." And I don't want to say like, "Hey, man, I'll give you like $200 or $300, or I'll trade you something else and get my shit back."
Trade them some weed. You could probably get weed cheap and just trade them weed.
I don't do drugs, and I have a government job, so I was like, "Yeah, that's the worst thing I want to do."
You know what that means? That means they got weed up in your place. Go get some. Your coworkers got weed in
But
there.
no, there were so many good games, and I also had the hard drive for it, with all the games on it.
That's
so I
right.
had all the DDRs. I actually had the Japanese DDRs, and I had the nice dance pads of like the $200, $300 dance pads for DDR. I need to get back. I need to get my fat ass back on those. But I had all these really cool games for it, and I still have those dance pads. They actually work for the Xbox X series. Excuse me, they actually work for the original Xbox, and they work for the GameCube, by the way, which I no longer have a GameCube. So they just work. Actually, I have a Wii still, so technically I still have. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, so DDR. I just missed the fact. And I even had the Logitech controllers, not the shitty ones where the people lost their lives on a submarine, but I actually had a good old school Logitech controller that was actually worth something for PlayStation. And you know what I'm talking about, the blue ones, right? They're like black.
Dude, if you watch my most recent video, I test consoles using those Logitech controllers.
Those damn things are like legit, and they're still good. And thing is, they don't have any drift. How is it a damn controller from over 20 plus years doesn't have any drift, works perfectly fine, but today's controller is dog crap?
Dog crap. Yep.
But that is one of my biggest regrets is getting rid of that. And another regret is for the PlayStation 3. I used to have it, and for some reason, I don't know if someone stole it. See, I have a bad problem of loaning shit out to people and then forgetting who I loaned it out to.
Regrets.
And Prince of Persia trilogy for the PS3, which had the very first Prince of Persia, whatever it is, the Ninja Gaiden one, and then the last one, which was the Two Thrones. I loaned it out to somebody, and I forgot who I loaned it out to because I loan out a ton of games. See, now when I loan stuff out to people, I actually write it down and put it in my notebooks, and then I basically come back in like a month or two because I actually set something up where I come back in a month and basically say, "Hey, man," because now I don't forget because I actually write everything down. But used to, I would just loan stuff out to people, and I'd just be cool about it, and it's like, oh, I'm going to let my friends play X, Y, and Z. No, your friends will rip your BS off in a heartbeat if you ain't paying attention and take advantage of you, because they're not really your friends. They're a bunch of leeches and moochers.
That's right. Shout out to all my friends.
Literally, I stole his book.
Dude, I'm gonna cut in on this one then. So Zach, you'll bring up the rear, because my regret is loaning a former co-host of the show a PS3 Slim and Barbie and her sister's puppy rescue. Because he got rid of all that stuff.
That's a good game, by the way.
It is a good game. I have the platinum. I played it with my daughter. But yes, I have the platinum trophy. But not only that, but it's getting more rare and it's getting more expensive. I bought the freaking game as a troll for us to play on the show back when we used to stream the Loot Bros. We did. And when we were doing our charity stream 2 years ago, I think it was 3 years ago now, who even knows, for March of Dimes, when my wife took over that charity for Lexington Medical Center.
Pulling out the game, folks.
My man, he's got it on the Wii U.
Jesus.
Yeah, I had it on PS3. I loaned him a freaking 500 gig PS3 and that game, and he friggin' hawked it.
Barbie and her sisters.
Puppy rescue. That's right.
Okay.
Not horse adventure. We ain't no bull crap. We ain't about the bull crap here on the Loot Bros podcast. We're only about the real deal.
That's not true. Hannah Montana. All I'm saying.
Hey.
Oh my God.
No. It's all about Corey in the house up in here.
Dang.
Corey in the House. That was a good show.
But does it have a game on PS3 with a platinum trophy?
It might actually. I think they had a game for it. I'll look it up.
Dude,
Keep talking.
that'd be dope.
How did you guys even get started with Barbie? What the heck?
Funny story, Bug. I'm glad you asked. So we were streaming our show for ProvenGamer.com back then. And so we would go live. And
Shout out Trophy Horse.
Shout out Trophy Horse. That's right. Shout out Tricky Mick, my good buddy. And so it would be four of us that we lived local, and they would all come to my house. I had my house at the time. It was my garage set up. I had kind of closed in the wall, had an AC unit in there, and that was our streaming area. And we would stream every Friday night, Loot Bros Podcast. Back then we were called Remember the Loot. That was like our first version of the show we did. And what we would do is we would go live on Twitch and we would just play a game. And then, so we'd have one of the four of us didn't talk a ton. So he would usually play the games. And so what we decided to do is we put a poll in our Facebook group and say, hey, what game do you want us to stream this Friday? Well, I had never done a poll before. So I didn't close the poll and put it to where you can't add options. So one of my bandmates went in there and said Barbie and her sister's puppy rescue. And then everyone voted for that. Well, our co-host at the time, Frosty, same guy who ripped me off on the PS3 and the game, funny enough, he was like, well, we don't have that game. So clearly we're going to have to do the second run, the runner up. And that was TMNT Turtles in Time. And so I was like, okay, we're going to go buy Barbie. And he's like, no, we're not doing that. He was kind of he got funny about things. So I get off work. I go buy Barbie. We set it all up. We have the stream ready to go. We have the Super Nintendo there. He comes in all hot to trot, ready to go. And he goes, here's my copy of TMNT Turtles in Time. And we're like, oh, sorry, we're already live. And Barbie is in the house. The best part is this. At the time, I was a supervisor at the manufacturing company I worked for. And I had just gotten into where I had people underneath me and I was sitting in on the production meetings. And eventually I would become the production manager of the entire building, the entire facility. Well, there's one of the supervisors there used to bully this co-host. And so he would rag him to death. And it was hilarious. Now, our former co-host, Frosty, is one of the funniest human beings I've ever met in my life. Dude is a comedic genius. But he did get a little funny about things from time to time. And this particular supervisor had a real knack for getting under his skin. So we sit down, we do the stream. I get a knock on the door. Who could be at my door? It was that said supervisor. And he had went on a date that night, got drunk. Date didn't go well. So where does he go? The Loot Bros podcast. He showed up at the house. Now, Frosty was not happy about Barbie, but he was live. So he was putting on a good face. So he's reluctantly playing through the game while we're laughing and cutting up in the stream. Ken, our supervisor at the time, walks in the door, sits in my chair right beside him in the middle of the stream, and he's like, "What the F are you playing?" And the embarrassment. I mean, this grown man playing Barbie on a stream for other grown men, and his supervisor from his job walks in the door and sits down beside him. I'm like, it can't get better than that. We were dying. We were dying. So, and then for another hour and a half, we continue the show. Now, at this point, I don't have a chair. We weren't built for 5. We were built for 4. So I'm standing on the other end of the camera. I'm in stitches. I'm dying. Right. We had, I don't know, 20, 30 people in the stream laughing and cutting up. And this dude ridiculed Frosty. And I've told the story 3 or 4 times on the show now. So for everybody who's, heard this a few times, sorry. And the best part was he kept talking about, he was half drunk or all drunk. He said he's half drunk, but who knows? He was like talking about how hot Barbie was, how he would, go to Europe and have relations with Barbie. And then talking about Barbie's mom and all this. It was a whole big thing, right? So, but then what makes it even better is I thought I got away scot-free on this one. I'm like, this is hilarious. Like, this is comedy at its finest. The dude that didn't want to play Barbie ended up having to play Barbie anyways. And then he had to play it in front of the only other person besides me in the world who can get under his skin. I was like, this was like a plan, a job well done. It couldn't have got any better. I thought it was amazing until Monday morning when I sat down in my production meeting in front of all of the, the owners and the other supervisors in the company and our office manager. And right in the middle of it all, we're talking about business, we're talking about orders, we're talking about, manufacturing, all that stuff. And he stops everything and says, "Did you guys know I went to Darrell's house on Friday drunk? And I got on his podcast, and then 8 people around that table looked at me. I was like, you do a podcast?" And he goes, "Yeah, about video games." And they played Barbie. The amount of embarrassment. I mean, I just was so beet red. I could feel my skin. I wanted to just peel it off. I was like, oh, God, no. And he goes, "Yeah, I got drunk, went to Darrell's house. They were playing Barbie, a bunch of grown men. And then I sat down and made fun of them for 2 hours. And it was this whole big thing. It was hilarious. So, and I just was like, "Can we go on a meeting? Can we go?" And then when my office manager, when she turned around and the look in her eyes, like, "I used to respect you, but you probably like anime." It was like that. So when it was all said and done, I had to commit to the bit. I had to like, we've already popped trophies on my profile. Now I have to get the platinum. And so I did. And in spite, in return for all the good I did for him, he took said PlayStation, he took my Barbie game, and he sold it.
The blatant disrespect, but the real disrespect is the one dude who basically that's not ratting somebody out, man. It's just a game's a game. And if you were just doing it for trophies or just doing it because maybe the game may have been good is one thing. But that dude should have had his ass handed to him coming into your house talking smack to somebody, because I guarantee you if someone came in my house and talking smack to me while I'm playing a game, I would took that controller, subbed that some bit sideways straight up his candy ass.
Dude, it was so funny. Like, and the bad thing was this, the worst part of it all was we had so much fun, but didn't archive the stream. So we have the audio version. And I probably need to, just the same way I pulled out the old limited run interview, I need to pull that out. I need to pull that out of the annals of the internet and send that one live. But we have it. It exists, but we don't have the video. And the video is really what made it worth everything. So,
oh, I'm sure it is, especially seeing you guys actually play Barbie Puppy Rescue.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a Luke Bros OG right there. That's the. And so it's been kind of an ongoing gag, And so then from there, one of our oldest listeners and a good friend of ours, shout out to Jared, he challenged me, or I challenged him. We were getting ready to hit our 69th platinum. So he was like, "All right, maybe I think it was him, maybe it was me. But we had this idea: we're gonna play a pervy game for our 69th platinum." As real mature human beings would do, right?
Laser shoot Larry.
Well, so we were going to play like Senra Kagura games or something like that. Now, granted, at the time, I never play a Senra Kagura game, and I still to this day don't like anime. So I was like, yeah, we'll definitely do that. So he goes, and he's now at the time he was traveling in and out of New York City on public transportation, playing Senra Kagura on his Vita. And then we used to rag him because he was playing pervy games on public transit, and people were watching him. So I go and I platinumed Monster High, new ghoul in school, and he platinumed some pervy anime game. He was like, "That was not our deal. You're an awful human being." And I played some kids game, whatever. I was like, "Bro, have you seen Draculaura?" So yeah. So basically, what I'm telling you is, I followed up Barbie with Monster High.
I mean, that kind of fits. I can see that. That's an acceptable exchange.
That's what it sounds like. You cheated.
That's the level of maturity you're dealing with here.
He would rather play Monster High and talk about Draculaura than play anime games. I mean, who's the real perf here? I don't play little girls games, but you do, sir.
Like, what is it? Thomas said, "A game's a game, and a platinum's a platinum." As far as regret goes, yes, there's that one. I do also regret. I went on a trip with my dad when I was much younger and better looking and had hair, and we went to a Springfield flea market at the time, and I remember going up to a table and I bought an entire like CD wallet of PSP games. Now, in my memory, I don't know how many there were. I'm going to say 20, 30 of them, but it was all of the bangers. It was like your Grand Theft Auto. It was
Chinatown.
Yes, it was Chinatown. It was the Need for Speeds. It was Need for Speeds. It was like 5, 10, most wanted or whatever. It was Final Fantasy, Crisis Core, all that stuff. And I bought like this whole CD wallet full of PSP games. And I remember it was Rhino Games at the time. It wasn't GameStop yet. I went into Rhino. Maybe it had just been bought and turned into GameStop. My timeline might be a little fuzzy, but either way, I went in there and I traded it in, and I didn't even get $20 for that stuff. And I walked out of there having made that decision. And to this day, especially as somebody who collects PSP, like as one of my main 3, I can't believe I was willing to do that.
You talking about the one that was right around the corner from Walmart? Yeah,
on Augusta Highway.
And what West Cola? Yeah, no, that they went from Rhino to EB and then to GameStop.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Yeah, that was a weird one because that was like when I first remember going in there, it was Rhino Games, and that was like
Rhino was fine.
Yeah, well, I like their colorway better. I think actually that was where I bought a new controller for the SNES when they were making the aftermarket ones with like the actual like turbo buttons and stuff.
My wife bought me. This is for the Xbox 360. Dead Rising. Is that what it is? Dead Rising.
Dead Rising.
That's correct. Dead Rising 1, 2, 3, and of course number 4.
Dead Rising when it first came out at that Rhino. So you're talking 2006, 2007, 2008 at the max. So that was about the time that I made that awful trade in. But yeah, I was we bought that and 99 Nights at the same time.
99 Nights is pretty good, man.
Yep,
or was.
I put that in too, like a dummy. It was wild, man. And then the big, I would say the last, and I'll let Zach go after this one. The last and probably the biggest regret I have when it comes to trade-ins, and this is going to make people cringe. People who have been listening for a while and they know how much of a Vita fan I am. Right when the Nintendo Switch, I don't remember, when did that Monster Hunter game come out for the Switch? Matt, not Rise or some riggering they had. It was the Generations or whatever that.
Generations Ultimate.
Yes. So you had the same time that Pikachu and Eevee came out, and then that Monster Hunter game. Like Switches were still hard to get right then, as far as I remember. They were kind of hard to come by, and I went and we had one of our local game stores, Games Block, they had, this is pre-COVID, they had a Switch get traded in, and they had all those games. And so I went in there with a couple consoles. One of them was an OG Xbox, and I accidentally left my copy of Dino Crisis 3 in the console when I traded it in.
Yeah.
I used Dino Crisis 3 to test it out.
Wait, the Dino Crisis 3 that you hated?
I hate it. I still hate it, but
And it was accidentally left in the console?
Yeah. That was,
which was set in space, by the way.
Yeah, which is terrible. It's such a bad game. But yes, I put it in to test the console to make sure it worked because I had picked it up in a bundle and forgot to take the game out. And I traded it in with the game in, lost it to time and space. And to make matters worse, when the PS Vita TV in all its beauty and brilliance, right? When it came out, I bought, I think, 3 of them. And I had the 3 of them. And then I had a bunch of sealed Vita games. Now, I had doubles. So I took the sealed ones and I traded them in with the PS Vita TV to get a Switch and those other games. Again, this is pre-COVID, so the value of Vita games hadn't blown through the roof yet. And because I had doubles, I justified it to myself to trade those in. And then now Vita games are so expensive, and I got pennies for those games. And it was a terrible, terrible, terrible thing that I did. So yeah, I live with the regret on those. GameSpot got me. So, Zach, it's all yours.
Okay, I was waiting on the handoff. I was seeing if sometimes you have a little bit of extra left in the tank.
What about shedding a tear or two for my fallen Vita games? I vowed from that point on never to trade or sell anything Vita ever again.
So I am like the worst at it, and this is probably why I am a proponent of buying digitally to an extent now. Now that I'm adult, now that I am I'm in my late 20s, almost in my 30s. I'm just a boy, but I've seen the error of my ways, and I can appreciate the stuff that I have a little bit more. So I have had a variety of consoles. I've had a Vita at one point in my life, traded it in. I have had PS3s, I have had PS2s, I've had PS1s, I pretty much had any console you can imagine. I've probably had it at one point in time. Do I have it now? Probably not. So it was something like this, like just not holding on to the stuff I had, always wanting to upgrade or go to the next best thing or this and this and that, and it sucks because now I'm at the point where like I finally at some pass I have the opportunity to purchase some of those older ones, but now they're more expensive. So now I regret not holding on to them because I want those things, not just for myself, but so my child can experience some of the things that I did too, because it's a big thing being able to share that kind of stuff with your kids, is sharing some of the things that you loved and then watching them love it just as much as you do and watching them light up. So my main regret is not holding on to the things that I cherished and things that I had memories with, because now I can't share those with my daughter in the same way, or my daughters. And then another regret I have is I still have a PS1 and Nintendo 64 and probably a PS2 that are sitting in a storage shed, and they're sitting in storage with all my parents' stuff, and I don't talk to my parents anymore. So fucking
you should end that relationship to get your consoles back.
Yeah, no, that would also require me to go to South Carolina, and the only way I'd ever go down to South Carolina is if Darrell drug me down there somehow for a really good reason.
So here's what we got, guys. All right, I say you do this. Okay, let's make it a real big deal. You mend the relationship with your parents, right? Coming from somebody who had spent between 14, 17 years estranged from his mother, and now we have a wonderful relationship. It is very possible. Is it easy? No. It's been pretty easy for me and her, but there was some hard years there. Okay. So can it be done? Yes. Do I have experience in the field? Yes. Do I encourage it? Sure. also, these consoles need rescuing. Like, that's super important. I would argue more important than your relationship with your parents.
Let's just say that. Hold on, let's just put it like this. The last time I left them, they were in storage with them.
So
they may not be there anymore because
worth the gamble. I would.
No, it's not worth the gamble. I say you're one of the few people on the panel tonight that's kind of gotten some of the backstory towards everything at some points.
Yeah.
So yeah. No.
Well, anyways, I'm going to continue on with my pitch. Okay. So, and I would like for anyone listening to the podcast to leave comments on YouTube, comments.
Wait, I'm going to counter pitch real quick. All right. So Thomas made a joke about us recording, and then everyone saying, "Hey, everyone, buy Zach a PS5." Never mind, JK. I'll make a deal. If the community builds up enough money for me to get a digital edition of the console, I won't turn my Xbox on for 6 months.
Well, don't worry. There's nothing to play there, so you won't do that anyway.
So funny.
So anyways, back to my pitch. So you fix the relationship with your parents, rescue the consoles, and all while hanging out with your boy Resident Darrell in South Carolina and T Diddy. We'll even all go together, boys trip to Bug's store and buy video games from her. One big happy family.
I promise I don't bite.
There you go. We can get games. See, boom. All right. So if you're listening to the show, I want you to weigh in on that one. Should Zach fix the relationship with his parents for his consoles?
So here's how you do that.
Matt's like, here we go. Bailiff time, baby.
So you fix the relationship with your parents, and depending on how you feel about it, don't immediately bring up the consoles. You gotta wait like 2 months to make it not be suspicious.
I would say like 3 weeks. It's just kind of like, hey, I want to come, let you see my daughter or something like that.
No, absolutely not. Have you met my wife? No, you have not met my wife. Okay, yeah, that'll never happen, bud.
3 weeks. No, you need a larger buffer because you start going in within that first month. They bred a pretty smart boy. I imagine they have some brains amongst themselves. I might be speaking out of turn, but I think even Stevie Wonder would see the
consoles. I mean, who's the real smart one here?
Stevie Wonder would be able to see right through that if he brought it up too soon.
Right.
It's great. I'm a very blunt person. Hey, I'm coming down to get my shit. All right, bye.
Yeah, I mean,
well, straightforward and to the point. Hey, I'm coming to get all my shit finally. All right, thanks.
Do you one better? Okay,
you're gonna buy me a PS5?
You keep asking, but it's never.
It's just I'm trying. You also said you'd send me a one of those messed up Vitas to fix, but. At least I had better luck with a hard drive. Yeah.
I am pitching a show for his children to fix machines and make a ton of money on YouTube. Okay.
At my store
let's
currently,
do that.
We do actually have a PS Vita for sale.
Ooh, which one?
It's a PS Vita.
Is it the Go?
Yeah.
Is it the Vita 1 or 2?
It's a PS Vita. It's very similar to the PSP.
She doesn't know about Darrell.
So
Darrell, I'm gonna need you to share a little bit about your.
I've got
obsession.
Currently right now 3 PS Vita TVs, 9 PlayStation Vitas. I got 2 white fat Vitas, two black slim Vitas, the Japanese import blue Vita back with the black front, which is also slim, and then the rest of the fat ones.
I would say the PS Vita that we had is very similar to the PSP,
like this one,
in size. Yeah,
that one. So it's the fat, the OG.
Yeah.
Now, Darrell, were the black ones once red?
They have red ones.
No, but with the black ones you have, were they once red?
No, what are you? I don't know what you're getting at.
The redhead of DC, the redhead of any red,
yeah, gotcha. So no, unfortunately, no, not on that. But getting back to our compromise with Zach's family here, because this relationship It's really important to all of us. If you scheduled your return, I don't know, somewhere around September the 16th and 17th, you could come rescue your consoles, come down to SC HorrorCon with myself and T Diddy and talk about horror games and horror in video games.
All right. Here, I got you. If you pay for my gas and my days off work.
You keep talking about me paying for things. I'm trying to help your personal life here. I'm like a family fixer. Okay, the resident Darrell, the family fixer.
You know, it'll be nice when I find, you know, when in the spring next year I buy a house and I'm like, hey, Darrell, you want some commission? And then you're like, yeah, I want some commission.
Yeah, by then I'm going to be a full-time reseller.
Fine, I will not patronize your business.
No, real talk though. SC HorrorCon coming up in South Carolina, September the 16th and the 17th. Me and T Diddy will be there. We still don't know what date our actual panel is on, but
I'm hoping Bug will be part of the panel.
Well, I don't know, Bug. Do you like horror games?
You know, I've actually haven't played that many of them. I think the scariest thing I probably have played is Rusty Lake and Little Miss Unfortune.
I mean, you played some anime. That's pretty scary.
Yeah, roughly. You know, here and there.
Almost as scary as Batman vs Superman.
The greatest film ever made. Made. Don't you guys worry. I am
comic book.
Spreading the good news.
Comic book was very decent. Yes, the comic book.
The comic books actually have nothing to do with the film, but the film is
Thank God.
accurate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You want to know?
Just brush your beard.
Yeah,
I did.
Combed it. Yeah.
When I pulled out the I took 4 inches off my beard yesterday, by the way. But yeah, I pulled out that HorrorCon thing, and on top was my comb.
So how big was that guy? If you took 4 inches out of your beard.
Oh my God.
So nasty. This is a family-friendly show, and you're gonna ruin it with anime.
Family friendly, yeah, okay. No, so Bug, you should if you want to play a good spoopy game that's not super duper difficult and is easy to get access to, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
All right, let me write that down.
It's got some spooky on it, yeah, definitely.
Right.
But yes, Thomas and I I got a booth, I got a table, so we're gonna be selling video games. We're gonna be hawking Loot Bros merch. We're gonna be doing all kinds of stuff, you know, shaking babies, kissing hands,
tons of movies.
I've got a giant bin of horror movies that we're gonna be selling, and
giveaways.
So yeah, dude, all the good stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna have horror action figures there.
Trivia.
Yep.
A live blood auction.
A lot, dude. Say I won't. That's a good idea.
I know I'm full of good ideas today.
That'd be really difficult to manage, but you know what? We can do it. But yeah, I'm gonna have my kids there, and they're gonna be doing stuff too. They're gonna be ripping some horror merch and doing some stuff. It's gonna be a good time. And then again, Thomas and I are gonna have a panel. We're gonna do a Loot Bros episode about horror in video games. So we might do a list. You know, we're definitely gonna try to interact with the group live. So we will see what happens. But yes, guys, this has been the Loot Bros podcast. Thank you so much for sitting in here, talking shop with us. I mean, we came here to talk about regrets, but I don't know that I regret playing Barbie.
I wouldn't. I love it.
You know, you guys have really wanted me to play Barbie and her sister's puppy rescue. I have to see what's up with that now.
So, well, spoiler alert, you can get their fleas off of them. You can brush their teeth. You can teach them how to do tricks. It's like Grand Theft Auto.
And Thomas brought it out, Horse Adventures. We have come full circle, folks.
Oh my dear Lord.
My man reviewed that game too. He knows.
I reviewed for Game Judge.
Oh man, I always knew there was something wrong with you.
That's why we're such good friends. I met Thomas making a Facebook deal, and immedially wrestling, video games, and Barbie.
Don't forget the bald heads.
That's right.
Hey, that's just a look we share.
Well, a bald head says good in bed, so yeah.
I don't know that I've ever heard that one before.
You can use that. That's free.
You know,
I don't think I'm going to use that.
I don't think I'm gonna
It's really just to convince Darrell's wife.
There's no convincing. She's been with me for 21 years. She knows. She's accepted her fate. So this, again, guys, has been your video game podcast with a little bit of comedy. We'll sprinkle it in there. Thank you guys so much for making it this far. Be sure to check out the Hunter Huston ESG podcast. That is Bug and T Diddy right there. Check out the Resident Darrell YouTube channel. Go check out Resident Darrell on Whatnot. Go check out our Patreon because you'll be able to hear Matt. That's right, on the Driftcast, getting early access for that.
If you smell what Kalai is cooking.
That's right. And you'll be able to hear Zach's most recent deep dive on a pledge game. So yes, lots of good stuff. And again, I'm going to pump out another episode of the Resident Darrell podcast for our resellers. I'm going to try really hard to grab the YouTube crowd and shove them into our Patreon. You know what I'm saying? Bypass this show altogether because this is nonsense.
I mean, hey, I had a great idea earlier. You gonna do my idea that I gave you earlier?
The one where you come to South Carolina on the 16th and 17th, rekindle your relationship with your parent, rescue your consoles, and hang out with your boys? Yes, that's a great idea.
You mean like almost a month and a half before my wife is due? That's a great idea.
What better way of handling a pregnancy than going into preterm labor from traveling across the country?
My wife would have a fucking conniption
so bad. So I'm going to have
every right she would. As a person who's went through that ordeal myself, yes, absolutely.
So my wife is a labor and delivery nurse. She is a clinical nurse specialist for L&D, one of 5 women in the entire hospital system.
Wow.
And she teaches, nurses how to be nurses. L&D is her forte. So yes, I've heard lots and lots about preterm labor. And I watched this woman run a room in labor. Like she ran her entire room. Took out her own catheter too. That was weird.
Wow. That is a power story. I mean, I need to hear that one.
She's a beast, man. She's a beast. Well, you know what? You'll have to come back then on the Loot Bros podcast and we'll have to get that catheter. We'll talk about regrets tonight. We'll talk about removing our own catheters next time. So that'll be the topic of the show. Matt's face says it all. This has been the Loot Bros podcast, guys, and we're out.
Yeah.
This is the way.
Woo.
Let's